What up, world, and welcome to another episode with me, Ryan, and today we're going to cover the Archfey with D&D. So, got my player's handbook, got my player's handbook, it's all nice. As always, go to Chaos Cards, there's a line of notes somewhere down there in the blah blah, and you can go and check them out. They have all the source material for 5e, D&D and such like. So today we're going to cover the Archfey, and as a bit of a disclaimer, I'm not a power gamer, and as a DM, I discourage away my players from being power gamers. I think it's more interesting to have a character that you want to play that might be a little bit out of the ordinary, but I know some people like to play like that. But today, we're not going to go for the +2 on charisma, all that kind of stuff, just to get the more kick out of the character. We're just going to go with the flow and see where we end up. So we have a human soldier named Shen Lao, who from a teenage year to his early 20s was part of a local city guard / militia / protectors of their local villages and such like. Over the course of a few years, he learned the trade of the industry and stuff like that. So he was combat arms, he was able to use certain weapons, etc. But on one fateful day, he, unbeknownst to him and his, battalion or squad or whatever, they came across a doppelganger, or they had a doppelganger amongst them. And during the course of a few days, this doppelganger periodically started picking them off one by one and making it in guise of another creature. Ultimately, it came down to Shen and this other individual, and at this point, the doppelganger, who was completely crazy and evil, decided to leave him alive and reveal to him exactly what he did and the reason why he did this. So that's a little bit of improv on this character. So as you can see, that I filled in the race and the background traits sections for the character, because I think it's a lot easier to do the backgrounds first, because that's what your character was before they became an adventurer, before they had this class that was above and beyond, before there was a warlock, a fighter, a wizard, etc. There was something before that. So as a DM, I encourage my players to do that thing first, do that section first. So we're going to do level 3, so I just filled in 300, and I filled in the rest of the section. I'm going to put this into Google Drive and share it on this video as well, so you can look for it somewhere down there, and you'll be able to download it and use it if you want. If you like this character, who knows. So as a human, it has 30 feet. I gave him I'm using the human variant, so +1 to con, +1 to charisma so far. Acrobatics, athletics, and intimidation are the skills that I picked, and he gets a bonus feat at level 1 for being a human. So I chose alert, so that's what gives him the +5 initiative, because it's amazing. Plus, you can't be surprised, and creatures or NPCs that are hiding from you and attack you don't gain advantage on attack rolls. So that's 2 thumbs up for me. You know what I mean? Can't really argue with that. So filled in the personality traits and flaws for the character. I'm not going to go into those. Common and Elvish, dragon dice and proficiency with vehicles on land. 10 gold pieces, because soldiers are poor in comparison to other backgrounds. And he has his handful of doppelganger teeth, because he gave him a left hook and killed him. Well, not killed him, just gave him a left hook, broke a few of his teeth out, and the doppelganger scarpered. He's quite lucky to escape, really. He has his signature of a rank, which is a scout, and bone dice and common clothes. So character details. I envisage that Shen is He's 24, is 5'4", so he's on the shorter side. He's 140 pounds, he's green, he's got a slight tan to his face because he's always outside patrolling and scouting and stuff like that, so he's going to have a slight tan to him. And he's going to have black hair. How that looks with his sort of like his hairdo, I have no idea at this point. So that is the human race and the soldier, I don't know why I said shoulder, and the soldier background sorted. So the Warlock class has been put onto the character sheet, so let's look what we've come up with. So Shen, during the course of his fight with the doppelganger, inadvertently stumbled across the home or glade of a dryad, a very particularly powerful dryad, who took pity on Shen and helped him during his fight with the doppelganger, and she was the reason why he was able to survive. So during that course of the fight and the aftermath, Shen saw the dryad, and with his particular beliefs and the region that he grew up in, he came to the understanding that this Fae was somehow connected to his destiny and pledged his allegiance or life bond to the dryad, who accepted and gave him a fraction of its power to enable it to do good for people that he wanted to save and stuff like, which is always good. That's usually how good adventurers start, right? So Warlock level 3 Archfey. So chaotic good. I don't typically adhere to alignments. I think anybody can do anything really. I think they have like a default alignment with their own personality, which I do reward my players for, going that route of chaotic good. But they can go any other alignment temporarily. It doesn't mean that if you're chaotic good, that's all that you are, because that's wrong. That's not how sentient beings are. That's not how humans are. So personally, as a DM, I don't lock people into that you have to play a chaotic good character or whatever character all the time. It's wrong. So put the stats in. The stats are pretty nice. They're not overly amazing, but we're not power leveling, so what does it matter? So Warlocks have access to leather armor, and so it has a pretty low armor class, but at this point in time, we're not looking to get into combat all the time. We're just looking to do damage from the back and then be an off tank or off melee damage dealer if the occasion arises. So we have saving throws of wisdom and charisma. There's a 3 and a 5, and then we have skills of acrobatics, athletics, deception, intimidation, and investigation. So I chose investigation because he's a soldier scout, so that kind of fits in with the theme of the character. Intimidation, deception, because warlocks tend to be socially adept, and athletics and acrobatics because, well, he was a soldier, so why not, hey? So hit dice is 1d8, he has 3 because he's level 3, and then we have the weapons. So as you can see from the dagger and the mace, not so good in close combat, but he's not looking to be the main damage dealer of the party. He's looking to be an off tank at this point. Magic items, maybe that might go higher, which obviously makes him better, which is good. So default, what he's going to be using is going to be Eldritch Blast, which is a +5 to hit, and then it's doing a minimum of 4 damage and a maximum of 13. Can't really go wrong with that, to be fair. It's nothing to snuff at. So he has Pact of the Blade and Fey Presence. So Fey Presence for the Archfey archetype for the Warlock basically enables you to use this ability to create a 10-foot cube originating from yourself, and it forces creatures that are in that cube to roll a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC. So Shen's spell DC is 13, so creatures have to roll against a DC of 13, and if they fail, they're either frightened or charmed by your extra-worldly fey presence. You irradiate this aura that's either frightening or charming, and it's up to you which one that you do. You can use that in... I wouldn't use it in social circumstances, but you can use that because, you know, once that charm wears off, that person knows that they've been magically charmed and they're not going to be happy about it. Yeah. So that's the level 1 Archfey ability that you get. With the course of the Warlock, he has a passive perception of 12, light armor and simple weapons proficiencies. He physically has light leather armor, hence the 12 AC. He has a mace. He has 2 daggers because you always need 1 spare, because that does a little bit more damage than the mace. Arcane focus, a light crossbow with 20 bolts. I haven't put that on here because that'd be a backup and just something to do, given maybe he loses his arcane focus, who knows. So that's the main sheet. Eldritch invocations. He has Agonizing Blast that enables him to add his charisma modifier to his damage roll. So if it didn't have Agonizing Blast, it'd just be a 1d10. No modifiers. So because I took Agonizing Blast, he can add his modifier, which bumps it up from a minimum of 1 force damage to 10 force damage to 4 to 13. So it amps up that minimum damage that you can do. And the Eldritch Blast is force damage, so creatures that are resistant to piercing and bludgeoning, sorry guys, you're going to have to take the force damage because, you know, you're not resistant. A little bit of an error there. Beast Speech, so this allows him to communicate or speak with animals spell at will without using the spell slot. My thinking thematically is the fact that he spends a lot of time in the woods, out in the open, so he has a connection to animals in general, and the fact that he's been somewhat touched by this Archfey gives him more of that ability, so I think that suits him thematically. So they're the 2 Eldritch invocations. So down to the spells. So he has a spell DC of 13 and a +5 spell attack bonus. So at level 3, Warlocks have 2 cantrips. So Eldritch Blast, self-explanatory. We've been talking about it for the last 2 or 3 minutes. Green Blade is a spell that is in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. So you hit a creature with a melee attack, and it does the green flames bounce onto an adjacent creature if they're next to each other and does additional damage. For that information, just look at, you know, Sword Coast Adventures Guide. For the spells, I thought I'd keep it very thematic. So at this level, Warlocks have access to the no 4 spells, and they have 2 spell slots. So they have choice, but they don't have a lot of usage. But as you know, Warlocks gain their spell slots back from a short and a long rest. So spend 10 minutes, guys, and you get those 2 spell slots back, so you can keep pumping these out, unlike wizards that have to take a long rest. So yeah, you'll be casting those quite regularly. So to keep it thematically, I thought I'd just straight up take the additional spells that come with the Archfey. So Fairy Fire allows you to cast Fairy Fire on creatures so they can't hide in the darkness, and it makes this outline around them so they're always visible. Sleep, you can put people or creatures to sleep. The higher the level you cast that hat, the more you can do that. But that's dependent on the HP, reducing them down to 0 to make them to sleep. Calm Emotions, self-explanatory, and Phantasmal Force, which we covered in the last video, I think. Nope, the Fiend video is what we covered that in. So, took those 4 spells, just for the fact that it makes it very thematic, straight up, no power leveling or power gaming, should I say. So, yeah, so that's my Shen Lao Archfey Warlock. So, as you can see, there's a lot of flexibility. This character is completely different to either the Fiend or the Great Old One. So these 3 are the basic 3 that comes in the player's handbook. There is the Undying version of this, which I'm not sure that I'll cover yet. Depending on how well this video does, I might cover, or I might jump straight to the Druid, which people voted on Twitter. Thank you very much, guys, for doing that. And we are nearly at now 40 subscribers, which I'm quite happy about. Cheers, guys. Get sharing the channel and we keep this going. So, Shen Lao has his problems with his doppelganger. He was taken on by this dryad who was given these abilities to help the people of his village and the surrounding villages. Wherever Shen ends up being, maybe I might use this character in one of my adventures later down the line. Who knows? Who knows what might happen in the Storm King's Thunder when it gets released in August. Anyway, so hope you like this different type of video. Let me know what you think, or whether you prefer me doing the other style. Just let me know, guys. So I will see you in the next video. So stay happy, stay safe, take care of yourself, guys. Happy gaming.